Tonight, the busiest travel weekend of the year.
I'm going home to Toronto.
Going to Halifax, where my parents live and where I'm from.
In France on a ski trip with my family.
Thousands make their way through the Ottawa airport as holiday travel kicks into high gear. The return of a vital bus route.
It's actually a plus for me because I had to walk all the way here and it wasn't easy.
Route 189 is back, helping families who rely on food banks here in our city. And bouncing for a cause.
We want the kids, first and foremost, to come here and have fun. The food donations on top of it is amazing.
The Big Holiday Bounce returns for another year, raising food and money for the Stittsville Food Bank and for CHIO. Good evening and thank you for joining us. It is the best time of the year for many, but it can also be one of the busiest, especially for those traveling. The Ottawa International Airport says flights are full and travelers should come to the airport prepared. CTV's Kimberly Johnson is returning from the airport and she joins us live with more on the holiday travel rush. Kimberly.
Austin, being able to see family is one of the most wonderful things about this season. I met people traveling to Europe, to sunny destinations, as well as the East Coast. And with thousands of people coming and going, there are travel tips along the way.
Ottawa travelers bustle about, catching flights and holiday spirit at the Ottawa airport with destinations worldwide. Where are you guys going?
We're going to Halifax, where my parents live and where I'm from.
We're going to Cuba.
I'm going to Italy back for Christmas to my family.
I'm going home to Ireland for Christmas. I'm excited. Yeah, I haven't seen my family in like 4 months, so because I've come here to study.
Ottawa airport officials say Sunday through to Tuesday are the busiest travel days of 2025, with most flights at or near capacity. Around 9,000 people departing each day, with just as many flying in on arrival.
Our flight got canceled and delayed 2 days, so it's good to finally be here.
Those like Ty Wheatley and his sister packing patience on top of clothing after weather-related delays for their first Halifax flight before heading to sunnier destinations.
We're going to the Dominican Republic in a couple days, so we had to kind of pack for like 2 climates, so that was interesting.
So good. I'm so ready for Christmas.
The airport says to ensure smooth travel, you'll want to come prepared. That means making sure you have your travel documents, like your passport if you're flying internationally. And before you leave home, they say to check your flight status online. And if you're traveling with Christmas gifts in your carry-on, they say to leave them unwrapped.
All of our skis are helmets, mitts, gloves, goggles.
Milana Segwe and her family had to be prepared for their family ski trip in France.
So excited. I haven't gone skiing in a while, so this is definitely an exciting trip. Excited to try something new for Christmas.
The airport decking the halls with the holiday spirit, the excitement for travelers here taking off.
We're off to see Paul's family, 3 little granddaughters and daughters, and we're just really looking forward to it. We're going to Toronto.
Going home to Toronto. Exciting because I work for an airline, so I get to be home for Christmas, which is really nice. Spend it with my family, which doesn't happen too much.
And if you're picking up a passenger at the airport, airport officials remind drivers to wait for them to land at the airport's cell phone lot, which is just off the airport parkway. Austin?
Okay, Kimberly, thank you very much for this. I will be there in about 8 hours, so I'm hoping it's not too hectic. CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Well, for some families who rely on food banks here in Ottawa, just getting there can be a challenge, but a restored bus route is now helping to remove that barrier for people who depend on weekend access. CTV's Josh Morano joins us live in studio with more on the return of this essential route. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, weekend service has been restored on Route 189, reconnecting riders to the Sedaka Food Bank, one of 5 emergency food banks in the city, and easing the burden for clients who were forced to find other ways there. Zach here relies on the Sedaka Food Bank, picking up supplies to get him through the month.
Someone who takes the buses, who relies on OC transport, is actually a plus for me because I had to walk all the way here. And it wasn't easy.
Earlier this year, weekend service was eliminated on Route 189 through OC Transpo's New Ways to Bus network, cutting off direct transit access to the food bank, which only operates on Saturdays and Sundays.
When it comes to rain and cold and So, and the walk is not in a walk in the park. It's not like a 5-10 minutes. It's almost half an hour, more than half an hour walk. It's difficult, more difficult when I get the food.
Some of them bring their suitcases, right, and they haul them suitcases, 50, 60 pounds of food all the way, to different locations.
For months, families without vehicles were left with few options to reach the Colonnade Road location, but starting Sunday, the route is back, and it's here to stay.
Learned about this situation, started talking to OC Transpo, explained to them that sometimes making fixes is not about the number of riders, but about the experience of the people who have lost that bus.
It's a permanent change, and it goes to April because that's our next service change, but we're not planning on removing this service.
Sadaka Food Bank is a halal food bank, but Jam says it serves hundreds of families, no matter their beliefs.
It's not for just Muslims. It is for all the religion, regardless of their color, skin, and religion. This is for them. Emergency food bank, anybody could come.
It's a real specialty organization. This visit that they take here, that one time per month, is pretty important. The fact that it's now a lot easier for them to get to and from is making their lives a lot easier, I hope.
Buses run hourly from morning to evening, making Keir's and others' trips less of a hassle.
There's a lot of seniors usually, so it's going to be easy for them to take the bus and to get here instead of having to walk and walk back.
Along with the service to the food bank, Route 189 also improves weekend access along Chesterton Drive, benefiting nearby schools, parks, housing, and community facilities. Austin.
CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. Josh, thank you very much for this. And as we take our first look at the weather forecast, today is, hard to believe, but the first official day of winter. Feels like we've been in the thick of things for quite some time. -7 right now. We do have a chance of flurries carrying over throughout the evening. A light dusting most likely, getting towards our nighttime low of -18 degrees. Very cold. Even cooler in Bancroft at -20. Petawawa -19. Same goes for Gatineau. Some more snow in Montreal at -11 degrees. And then for tomorrow's highs, warming up to about where we have been hovering for today's highs. -5 and a little chance of some snow. Heavier snow at times in Brockville with a high of -3. -8 is tomorrow's high in Gatineau. CTV's question period with Vashi Capellos wrapped up 2025 today with a sit-down interview with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. On the show, Poilievre called out MPs who left his caucus and crossed the aisle to the Liberals, accusing the Prime Minister of being behind what he called some dirty backroom deals.
Mr. Carney has said that he wants to get a majority not by winning in a majority government election, but by making backroom deals in order to get floor crossers. And
but the Conservatives made backroom deals too.
Canadians specifically rejected a Liberal majority in the last election. The vast majority of voters voted against that majority, and it is undemocratic through a series of backroom deals of Mr. Carney to try and concentrate more power and money in his own hands rather than allowing the Canadian people's decision to stand.
Pressed by Vashi on why Carney and not his leadership is to blame for Conservatives defecting and why he isn't displaying any contrition, Poilievre admitted he is, quote, troubled by the floor crossings, but he will continue to focus on affordability issues for Canadians. The Conservative leader was also pressed on his plans for how he would accomplish that.
I would axe all of the carbon taxes, and I would cut other taxes as well, and that's how we're going to make life affordable. And I wouldn't be running a $78 billion money printing deficit right now. I would be bringing the deficit down. So it is the cost of government is driving up the cost of living. That's why Canadians cannot afford to live. And it's precisely why Conservatives are calling for an affordable government so that Canadians can have an affordable life.
And you can find that full interview on ctvnews.ca and on YouTube. Prime Minister Mark Carney was not made available to CTV News for a year-end interview. Premier Doug Ford is standing by his Labour Minister, David Piccini, who is now the subject of an Integrity Commissioner investigation into his involvement with the controversial Skills Development Fund.
I do have confidence in David Piccini. He's worked his back off. He has been able to create this program that 750,000 people have been trained. That's never been done before. As a matter of fact, it's never been done in the entire country. It's a great program. And is there tweaks? Is there continuous improvement? 1,000%. We can look at continuous improvement, and we'll always look at ways to do things better.
The investigation follows complaints brought forward by the NDP and Liberals regarding recipients of the $2.5 billion training fund. It follows a report from the Auditor General that found the SDF selection process was not fair, transparent, or accountable, and lower scoring applicants were chosen over higher scoring ones. Well, amid the rush to finish up holiday shopping, new reports find many Canadians are choosing to spend less this year. As CTV's Colton Prale reports, families are looking for savings just about everywhere they can, with one big exception.
It's the season of giving.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas!
But some Canadians find themselves giving
less. And you can do it if you're good at knowing what the prices are.
A new survey from TD Bank found more than a third of Canadians are cutting back on holiday spending, up from last year.
Me and my partner decided actually not to exchange gifts between the two of us this year. It's so expensive.
It's not just presents under the tree that are getting trimmed. According to TD, of those planning to save this holiday season, nearly half are cutting back on social spending.
Especially with groceries are way more expensive, so it makes like hosting and having parties a lot harder.
But even as holiday budgets decrease, 46% of people are actually spending more money on Canadian products, according to Business Development Canada. At this Ottawa artisan shop, that's leading to a boom in new customers.
When folks can check all the boxes and they're not draining their bank account or taking out loans just to support the Canadian economy, then it's a win-win.
Still, according to TD, over 3/4 of Canadians admit they're vulnerable to overspending on the holidays, feeling the pressure to create memories or spend extra to give meaningful gifts.
It is something we're willing to pay for because we really want to support Canadian producers and makers of products.
A report from Business Development Canada says if families spent an extra $100 of their expected holiday shopping on Canadian products like this, the benefit to the national economy could be as much as $2 billion. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
And a warning from experts this holiday season about a spike in fraud cases. Every year, Canadians lose hundreds of millions of dollars to scammers, but this time of year, when people are in a rush and distracted, they become more vulnerable. Here's CTV's Denise Roberts with some tips to protect yourself.
'Tis the season for scams. Each year, there's a spike in fraud during the holidays, especially those targeting shoppers, according to cybersecurity expert Terry Cutler.
That's when their guard is down because they want to get things done quickly, and they just click on stuff they're not supposed to, or get caught up in a scam.
He says fraudsters use fake websites to lure bargain hunters. They also tamper with gift cards.
They're going to put a sticker or barcode on top of the original barcode, which links to a master gift card that the scammers paid for. So when you go to the cash and they activate it, you put $50 on it. Well, that $50 just got transferred to the scammer's MasterCard.
Cutler says recent data breaches have been a gift for criminals, giving them access to names, addresses, and passwords, information that can be used to impersonate your bank. He says to never trust call display. Banks will never ask for passwords or one-time codes over the phone. He also recommends changing your passwords often and enable two-factor authentication and alerts on your phone. Beware if anyone is demanding urgent action or clicking on links to verify your account, what's known as a phishing scam. And another sure sign that something's off.
Whenever they're asking for payments in gift cards, that's your ultimate red flag that this is a scam.
Social media is another place where scams abound.
Over the holidays, a lot of people could be lonely and they get love bombed by social media.
And don't think it can't happen to you. Cutler says he was inadvertently involved in a romance scam.
A fraudster used my photo and my kids' photos to generate a Facebook dating profile and scammed the woman of $60,000.
As fraudsters evolve, Cutler says it's important to stay on top of the latest scams, and there are online tools to protect yourself.
It really comes down to awareness.
One of the best gifts you can give yourself this season. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
It was all smiles while giving back at the Ottawa Megadome today for the second annual Big Holiday Bounce Drive. It's in support of CHEO and the Stittsville Food Bank, and CTV's Camille Wilson was at that event today. She joins us live in studio to give us a recap. Camille.
Austin, a day to bounce and play for all kids, all for a good cause, giving back to some of the communities that matter most to the city. For some parents I spoke to, this kind of initiative hits close to home. Bouncing around and meeting Santa, some of the highlights at the Ottawa Megadome.
We have so much fun. We get to burn off energy and, run around. It's hopefully they'll go to bed pretty nice tonight.
For friends Courtney Thompson and Ryan Cook, there was no better place to be than at the big holiday bounce drive, raising funds for CHIO and donating to the Stittsville Food Bank.
Brought my kids to Walmart. They picked out their own canned good.
Happy to donate always. Happy to bring our non-perishables and give back a little bit.
Everyone here bringing a non-perishable food item or minimum $5 donation for CHIO.
Right now at the food bank, we're running through hundreds of people with all the extras that we gather in so that for Christmas time, including new toys, all that type of thing, so everybody can have a pretty good holiday.
Most of us have kids, and when they're sick, they need to go to CHIO, so we try to give back as much as possible to them.
For Cook, this event hits close to home.
Growing up with asthma, I was there a lot. A few years ago, my daughter was pretty sick, and they did a lot for her then, so just giving back to such an important charitable organization.
Bouncy castles, laser tag, and an open field to play.
Take a look around. It's a fun place for the kids to come burn off some energy and a great cause too. There's a lot of people who aren't as fortunate as others.
Megadome owner Dave Thompson says it's the least he can do.
The community gives us so much. So to help give back to the community of Stittsville and the Canada area is more, we're more than happy to do that.
And even Santa couldn't resist.
But when he said CHIO, my heart just melted. I'm always thinking of the children at CHIO. I'm so proud to be part of it.
The goal to beat last year's donations of just under a ton of food donated and $2,000 for CHIO. This year, they surpassed that with collecting over a ton of food and $1,200 raised for CHIO. However, the Ottawa Megadome will match that amount to surpass last year's mark. Austin.
Love to hear it, Camille. Thank you very much for this. CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight. Thank you. And a group of young people here in Ottawa embraced the cold to deliver some hot meals to those experiencing homelessness in our community. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association stopping by the Ottawa Mission today for the Holiday Dinner on Wheels initiative. Organizers say the event reflects the Islamic principle of service to community.
But you have to demonstrate that there's an imminent threat.
Still ahead, tensions between the United States and Venezuela continue to simmer. Today, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro accusing the U.S. of using psychological terrorism. Before we go to break, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is -7 degrees. Smooth sailings out on the roads tonight. It looks like no major slowdowns or delays on the Queensway. There's a look, you can see the clear roads over the course of this evening. There is a chance that some light flurries will be falling, but we don't anticipate a whole heck of a lot of snow. And so hoping those clear conditions continue throughout the night. Australians gathered today to collectively commemorate the moments the first shots rang out 1 week ago at Sydney's Bondi Beach in an attack on a Jewish festival that left 15 people dead. An estimated 10,000 packed the beach for today's solemn ceremony, laying flowers and paying respects for the victims of last week's mass shooting. It happened during a Hanukkah celebration at the seaside location, with authorities describing the attack as Australia's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 3 decades. It is being investigated as an act of terrorism targeting the Jewish community, and authorities have ramped up policing across the country in an effort to prevent further anti-Semitic violence. Closer to home, a Jewish advocacy group is applauding Saskatoon police for arresting a local man with a hate crime. CTV's Laura Woodward has more on the charges laid following a disturbing trail of anti-Semitic comments.
It's time to disassociate from the Jews.
This is Brandon Taylor Moore, a 45-year-old Saskatoon realtor accused of using social media to promote hate against Jewish people.
We're talking about slogans such as "Make anti-Semitism great again." These are some of the most vitriolic
posts that one can make, and they are truly diabolical in nature, and his intent was to incite hatred.
Last year, Jewish advocacy group B'nai B'rith filed a complaint with the Saskatchewan Real Estate Commission. Moore's license to trade real estate was terminated in May of 2024. Around that time, he posted on X, saying, quote, B'nai B'rith of Canada are trying to paint me as a racist anti-Semite. That couldn't be further from the truth.
If you don't like what I'm saying, it's just because you haven't done your research.
On Wednesday, Moore was charged with public incitement of hatred and unsafe storage of a gun.
It's incredibly concerning that somebody who holds such harmful views has access to firearms.
Moore made his first court appearance on Thursday and is scheduled to be back in provincial court in January.
There's a serious problem in this country of radicalization, of extremism, of the glorification and promotion of terrorism and violence. And it's not just an issue that impacts one group or one community. It's a fundamental matter of national security.
The Saskatoon Police Service says right now it's working on 3 investigations related to anti-Semitism.
I hope the message is clear. You will be held accountable for your actions.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
In the Middle East, Israel's cabinet has given the thumbs up for a proposal that would see 19 new settlements built in the occupied West Bank. The news is coming from the country's far-right finance minister. The settlements include 2 that were previously evacuated during a 2005 disengagement plan. The approval increases the number of settlements in the West Bank by nearly 50% during the current government's tenure, from 141 in 2022 to 210 after the current approval. Settlements are widely considered illegal under international law. And the U.S. Coast Guard is pursuing another sanctioned oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea today that has been helping Venezuela avoid sanctions. This after the U.S. seized a second oil tanker in 2 weeks yesterday off Venezuela's coast. The U.S. has accused Venezuela of trafficking in what it calls stolen oil.
Trump administration is using a non-international armed conflict, which is a legal framework that complies with the laws of armed conflict. But you have to demonstrate that there's an imminent threat.
U.S. President Donald Trump has demanded that Venezuela return assets that it seized from U.S. oil companies years ago. Trump has threatened a blockade of Venezuela and says Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered. On Telegram today, Maduro accused the U.S. of using psychological terrorism. Well, officials in Johannesburg, South Africa, are confirming 9 people have been killed and at least 10 others wounded after a group of gunmen carried out a shooting at a local pub. The shooting occurred just before 1 o'clock Sunday morning in a small town outside the nation's capital. Authorities say there's now an active manhunt for suspects. It is the second mass shooting to happen in South Africa in 3 weeks. Canada lost its measles elimination status earlier this year after nearly 3 decades due to its failure to curb a year-long outbreak. CTV's Adrian Cobriel looks back at one of the top stories of the year and the trend that has health professionals alarmed.
Infecting everyone from newborns to seniors, 2025 has marked a measles resurgence in Canada.
Well, it was by far the worst year of measles in Canada since elimination in 1998.
Public health officials say Canada's measles outbreak began on October 27, 2024, when an international traveler attended a wedding in New Brunswick. Guests at that wedding then went home to southwestern Ontario, beginning the country's first locally transmitted outbreak, which spread at an alarming rate among that region's close-knit Mennonite community, where vaccine rates are below the national average.
That's where the epicenter of this outbreak occurred. And there are communities throughout the country that also are unvaccinated.
That led to a dire domino of provincial health agencies declaring outbreaks this year from coast to coast. More than 5,300 measles cases have been reported so far in the country in 2025. The virus's tentacles stretching from Nova Scotia to British Columbia, with the largest clusters found in Alberta and Ontario.
I just kept on thinking it was the worst flu bug I had ever had in my life.
In May, 55-year-old Michelle Knorr sat down with CTV News, just days after being released from hospital, where the measles virus nearly ended her life. What began as flu-like symptoms developed into a rash all over her body.
It felt like I was on fire.
Taken by ambulance from her home in Kindersley, Saskatchewan to a hospital in Saskatoon, 2 hours away, she was isolated and treated for sepsis, high blood pressure, and hepatitis, all a result of contracting measles that left her body ravaged.
You can see the remnants of where it was.
The highly contagious disease has also left a tragic mark on multiple Canadian families. In October, a premature baby died from complications due to measles in Alberta. Another infant born prematurely with the virus in southwestern Ontario passed away in June.
Pregnant women shouldn't be getting this infection because they should be immune through vaccination. And little kids and newborns should not be getting this infection because there should be high enough rates of vaccination in a community.
In November, Canada lost its measles elimination status after nearly 3 decades due to the large multi-jurisdictional outbreak of measles.
She has a blister on the top of her mouth that hasn't gone away, and her whole back is covered in hives.
CTV News spoke to Michelle Sire in the fall. Her daughter was diagnosed with measles in October after delaying her initial vaccination.
Make sure you do your vaccinations. That's my biggest concern, because if I was a little late with hers, and I think that if I would have got it on time, then maybe she wouldn't have got it.
Measles infects the respiratory tract and then spreads throughout the body. A rash and high fever are the most common symptoms. In rare cases, it can lead to death. Pregnant women, people with weakened immune systems, and children under 5 are at the highest risk for measles infections. In September, a newly appointed federal advisory panel stateside, installed by U.S. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr., passed a vote recommending that children under 4 no longer receive an all-in-one vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. North of the border, some doctors are worried that decision could lead to more vaccine hesitancy.
Shaming and blaming is not a public health strategy, and there's a lot of listening and answering questions and taking concerns seriously while lowering barriers. And if strategies like that are taken, I think we can make some significant gains in our vaccine rates in these under-vaccinated pockets and communities, and we can prevent these outbreaks from happening.
Often referred to as the canary in the coal mine, the spike in measles cases is seen as the first sign of a significant regression in hard-fought public health gains that were made over the last several decades. Some doctors are concerned for what this could mean for the year and years ahead. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
The colder temperatures, your immune system tends to be a little bit impaired.
Still ahead, the impact of frigid weather on the immune system. There's a new study that reveals why catching a cold is much easier in the cold.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Look at that Christmas tree all lit up and looking pretty. Of course, today is the first official day of winter here in the nation's capital. A very festive feel in the Byward Market. There was some singing going on as well. You see it right there. Walking about the historic neighborhood as well, picking up some of those last-minute gifts and maybe even a last-minute Christmas tree. Still plenty available for sale in those lots here in the Byward Market. Lots to see if you bundle up and take a walk through Majors Hill Park as the ice builds up along the Ottawa River in between Ottawa and Gatineau. But all things considered, a pretty nice day here in the capital. You just got to have the right winter gear. We do expect things to kind of clear off overnight and then some chance of flurries into tomorrow, but light ones. Out on the East Coast, St. John's and Charlottetown both at 1 degree. Fredericton currently sitting at 0. We are now at -8 here in the nation's capital. It's -14 in Sudbury. Very cold in Timmins, -16 with some snow. -4 right now in Toronto. Still very cold out on the prairies. That's been the same story this whole week, really. Edmonton at -23, Saskatoon -24, and how about Yellowknife and Whitehorse? I know they're not the prairies, but -35 and -37 in Whitehorse. That's the cold spot here in Canada right now, and Not hard to see why. It is 7 degrees, stark contrast out on the west coast in Vancouver. We will be getting down to minus 18 degrees tonight, feeling closer to minus 25 with that chance of flurries carrying over before getting to minus 5 tomorrow afternoon. That same chance of flurries carrying over into the afternoon hours tomorrow. The Ottawa Valley expecting some heavier snow for tomorrow with the high of minus 6 degrees. And then along the Seaway, they're also expecting a nice dump of snow, looking like maybe between 3 to 5 centimeters by tomorrow afternoon with that high of minus 4 degrees. And so as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, we do expect things to stay around seasonal, but the overnight lows maybe a little bit below seasonal on Wednesday and Thursday for Christmas. Looking like cloudy, chance of some flurries in the overnight hours as well. So for those hoping for a white Christmas, what we do get over the next 48 hours likely will stick around because we're still in the minus temperatures. Well, we have all heard the old adage, bundle up or you'll catch a cold, and it turns out there might be some truth to that. New research suggests the warning is rooted in science, and CTV's Kathy Lee has more on the advice as the cold and flu season rages on.
As winter sets in and breath turns to fog, the sniffles return and coughs linger.
Do you believe the cold air contributes to people catching the cold?
Yes, definitely, especially in Alberta.
If you're not dressed properly, and it just makes sense.
While cold weather doesn't directly cause a cold, a new joint Canadian-Australian study shows it can make you more likely to catch one.
In the colder temperatures, your immune system tends to be a little bit impaired. So already you're sort of at a disadvantage to viruses in the cold.
The study also revealed that the frigid air allows for germs to enter the body easier through 2 different ways. One, the nose, because a cold nose creates an ideal environment for viruses to survive, and through the skin.
If you get broken skin because it's dried out because of the cold, viruses can enter our bodies through those through the skin as well.
The findings of the research come as Canada grapples with rising flu cases.
This year's probably going to shake out as being one of the more severe influenza seasons, especially at a population level.
Federal health data showing the percentage of positive tests nationwide at almost 28 compared to 13% last week. And cases are surging across the prairies, with that region seeing the highest test positivity in the country, straining the healthcare system.
Years where we have H3N2 that predominates, like this year, those tend to be more significant flu seasons. Absolutely not too late to get a flu shot this year if you haven't received one already.
With the increasing cases, many taking precaution.
Wear very warm clothes and everything, and I make sure to wash my hands.
With the hope of getting through the chilly winter without getting sick. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
And just having that dual reality is honestly weird. It's bizarre.
Living a dual life. After the break, we will introduce you to the pro wrestler by night and helping her community by day. There is a growing professional wrestling scene in Montreal. The events are so popular, and the men and women who enter the ring, they still, however, need day jobs during the week. CTV's Daniel J. Rowe introduces us to one of those athletes.
Well, yeah, so this is where I work.
During the day, Namita helps vulnerable people find home. But at night, Katrina Creed emerges and enters the ring.
There's something really weird about being able to do shows on weekends, having these high adrenaline events. And having honestly the time of your life, and then having to kind of switch gears and trudge to your day job.
Creed admits that going from her day job to rings here and overseas is intense.
And just having that dual reality is honestly weird. It's bizarre.
Her job and her passion require very different energies.
Wrestling is very intense as an industry. Both physically and mentally, but then also my regular job, oftentimes we're dealing with people who are in really vulnerable situations.
Yes. Well, from adrenaline and aggression to nurturing and compassion, Creed has one of the more extreme day-to-night transitions. She's not alone.
We've had a lot of interesting day jobs over the year.
Andrew Stott, or the Professor Shane Hawk, is co-director of the International Wrestling Syndicate. He's also a senior content creator for an international company during the day.
Sometimes people will say, how can you be cheered or booed by, hundreds of fans and then go to work on Monday? And it's because it's really not that big of a deal. It's work, right? It's the same thing that we do everywhere else.
It's just going back and forth between two different worlds that require so much of you. And for a while, and even now, it's kind of all I do.
Preet's coworker, Akira Buhena, says it's important to have an outlet.
Especially when you're dealing with a lot of pressures and we're dealing with people that are kind of affected by a lot of systemic issues going on. So it's important to have, especially if you're a frontline worker, it's important to have something to help you kind of alleviate the stress.
Because you don't.
Because if you don't, you can lose your mind.
That's partly why a wide printing tech jumps off the ropes.
A lot of trouble. Whoa!
A garbage truck driver gets slammed to the mat. And a social worker suplexes her opponent.
It is the greatest emotional release of my life. I'm so fortunate and grateful to have found something that honestly I feel like just lights my life ablaze in the best of ways. And I just love it. I need it, I think, more than it needs me.
She needs to feel the joy of pain to deal with her stress. Daniel J. Rowe, CTV News.
Earlier this season, here, 3-on-2, panic, trying to find the middle, in front, they score!
The Ottawa Charge looking for just their second win of the year this afternoon in Chicago. We'll have a recap of the game after the break. The Bell Media building is lit up. It's bigger and brighter this year. It's bigger and brighter every year, thanks to our friends at Christmas Decor from Nutrilon. Well, a group of school kids in Edmonton are getting a lesson in helping out their neighbors all outside the classroom. They're being encouraged to clear snow for those who need a helping hand. CTV's Amanda Anderson has more on the city's Snow Heroes Challenge.
Are you guys ready to get outside and make a difference?
These grade 6 students at Monsignor William Irwin get bundled up, ready to tackle the snow-covered sidewalks outside their school.
If it just snowed, then it's not hard, but if it's it snowed a couple days ago, then it's hard.
The school is one of 17 taking part in the Snow Heroes Challenge put on by the city.
Snow removal in Edmonton is such an important part of our community, and it's such an important part of living in a winter city. And if we can encourage youth to get involved, it can make such a difference.
As part of the challenge, kids are encouraged to think of neighbors who might need a helping hand.
Not even just elders, people who are hurt that can't shovel and live alone, and they need someone to shovel, or they don't have money to get someone to shovel.
Chigalum Umanido says neighbors have tried to pay her for her work.
I've declined. They're very thankful, and I explain what we're doing, and they say that it's nice.
Each student has a chart to keep track of snow removal jobs they've completed.
After they complete 5 houses, they become a snow hero, or after 10, they become a storm legend. And at the end, they become a snow monster.
Gabrielle Lyle says it can be a challenge for some students to become snow heroes.
Some students maybe don't have the opportunity to go and shovel as many walks as others because they live in an apartment building or they don't have enough connections in the community. So that's a bit of a challenge, but even just shoveling one house will make a difference.
It's hard work these kids are glad to do, even if it's cold out.
You kind of feel happy because you're helping people.
I feel quite good about myself because I'm helping those who need it.
The kids hope there's plenty more snowy days this winter.
I'm hoping we get lots because it's really fun.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
In tonight's Big Picture, visitors to Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles were treated to a record-breaking sight, the unveiling of the world's largest gingerbread house.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a really big picture. The world record-setting structure is a life-size replica of the McAllister house from the 1990 blockbuster Home Alone. It was built out of 4,200 gingerbread brick tiles, and it's held together with 75 liters of edible glue. Turning now to some of the other stories that you need to know. The Ottawa Charge looking to turn things around this season. They went to work this afternoon in Chicago.
This middle frame that's been fraught with penalties. Jenner shoots and scores!
A huge buzzer beater from Brianne Jenner at the end of the second period. That's her third of the season. Eventually, this game would need overtime, and the Charge, they were able to put it away right there. Sarah Wasnevich with her first PWHL goal to ice this one. 3-2 is the final score. Gwyneth Phillips in net for the Charge had 41 saves. This game was part of the league's takeover tour, played in Chicago, and Ottawa plays next on Tuesday in Toronto.
Frank scanning. Great shot. Center and scores. The insurance.
The Sens are in Boston. They're taking on a division rival in the Bruins tonight. Ottawa has turned things around of late. They have won 3 in a row, including yesterday's tilt against the Chicago Blackhawks on home ice. It is worth noting Tim Stützle is red hot with 11 points in his last 5 games. Puck drop for tonight's contest is set for 7 o'clock. And a popular Japanese restaurant here in Ottawa has closed its doors for good. Festival Japan on Kent Street in the downtown core is no longer in business after nearly 20 years. In a notice posted on the front door, the owner says, quote, "Since opening in 2006, it has been our greatest honor to serve you, share in your celebrations, and become a part of this community. There was no reason for the closure provided."
This is my last shift.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, it's sad. I'm gonna miss everything about this place. The way it smells, the celebrities who would come through. You know, just last week, Josh O'Connor was here.
Popular comedian and cast member Bowen Yang took his final Saturday Night Live bow. Yang concluded his 7-year run on the late-night comedy series last night with a mid-season exit during the final episode of 2025. He first joined the show as a writer in 2018 and then became a featured player the following season and was promoted to a main cast 2 seasons after that. He became a fan favorite with 5 Emmy nominations over his time with the show. Yang was born in Australia, but he moved to Brossard, Quebec at just 6 months old. From shooting hoops to cracking nuts, how Toronto Raptors are getting into the holiday spirit, joining a classic Christmas musical after the break. Before we go to break, there's a look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It's -8 degrees.
Tonight, the holiday rush.
You have to be a smart shopper and compare prices and don't grab the first thing, go looking around.
Canadians say they're cutting back with one big exception. That's tonight on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
Going home to Ireland for Christmas.
It is one of, if not the busiest travel weekend of the year, as nearly 10,000 people make their way through the Ottawa airport each day. A vital bus route returns for some families in need, helping to bring many to a local food bank as more and more people struggle to make ends meet.
It's a fun place for the kids to come burn off some energy and a great cause too.
And having a bounce for a couple of great causes, the 2nd annual Big Holiday Bounce Drive in support of CHEO and the Stittsville Food Bank. Probably a nice day to be inside of that event as well. The first official day of winter. One last look at your forecast, waking up to -16 degrees, feeling closer to -20, and there is a chance of some flurries. And then we are expecting at least some snow to hover around the city until Thursday for your Christmas celebrations. -4 is the high expected on Thursday. -10 for Christmas is the low. And then Boxing Day, a chance of flurries of rain returning to the capital, but looking more likely that we will get some sort of a white Christmas. Finally for us tonight, 2 Toronto Raptors got into a holiday tradition at the National Ballet of Canada. Scotty Barnes and Jamal Shade took part in the Nutcracker as cannon dolls. It's become a tradition at the National Ballet. Other prominent people who've taken on the role include Raptors great Kyle Lowry, Leafs captain Austin Matthews, and Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield. The Nutcracker is on stage until the end of the month, and that looks like a very fun role for them. A bit of a, change of pace from their normal day job, but they seem right at home there on stage, and you love to see it. That is CTV News for this Sunday, December 21st. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. You won't see me again before Christmas. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the family time.